Welcome back to Well House Midweek Minis. This is your ghost of a host with the most, Shanna.
It's PukwuPJ.
No, you have to use your voice.
It's Wednesday night, and I'm PukwuPJ.
There it is. Tonight is episode 6 in our midweek mini episodes.
Okay, so before you say anything else, I realized something about our intro music, and I must have done it, like, subliminally.
Okay.
Growing up, and I'm sure you've heard it too, because it's been a staple in Halloween toys forever. Growing up, we had this little ghost, and it hung on a string, and it was literally like a handkerchief with like a little vibrating ball on, like, that was draped over.
That one?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's our music. It goes, woo, woo, and like it's like the same pitch and everything. That's our intro.
I don't hear that, but I will take your word for it.
I'm gonna have to find it. I'll find it.
Oh, I know the music. I know the sound you're talking
Yeah.
about. But no, anyway, before we begin, I have a joke for you, PukwuPJ.
I am ready.
It's from Penny.
Oh no. Okay.
A ghost woke up this morning and realized it wasn't Halloween. Do you know what it said?
Boo-hoo.
This is boo sheet.
Whoa! Hold on now.
Like I said, it's okay.
It's getting a little racy.
I know.
Here.
That's as far as I'll go.
Man.
This isn't Games Overboard. All right, tonight my references are going to be from allcrystal.com, bustle.com, savannahcarefree.com, MGB Mindfulness, and supernaturaldiscernment.com. Because tonight we're talking about how to not get haunted.
Yep. My sources are commenters on Facebook.
Oh, good, you have those? Because I have mine up right now.
Okay, and also some chat GPT.
Of course.
Because I just can't. I love it.
Sometimes there's addictions to video games and to other things. Here's this ChatGPT. All right. Well, anyway, tonight I wanted to go over how to not get haunted because of the comments that we had back and forth about going to Penhurst and whatnot. So this is really for you, PJ. Okay.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome. So, as shown by my weekly ghost joke, spooky stuff, ghosts, and Halloween can be fun to talk about, listen in on, and maybe even lightly dabble in. However,
I dabble.
Exactly. What is not fun is actually being haunted, or at the very least, followed by spirits. Many times, even a trip to the cemetery for some sensitive people can produce extra baggage for a return home trip.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
Well, we don't, but a friend.
A friend, yeah. My example is always, if you walk in mud, you're going to track it along unless you wipe off those shoes before you head in the house. So how does one dabble successfully without bringing something home? According to professional mediums contacted by the website Bustle, there are some ways people can avoid being haunted. I am going to review those major ways, and I'm also going to toss in some other ideas from other websites, and I'm going to kind of explore more deeply and kind of explain and analyze a couple of the ideas that Bustle suggests, because I feel like a list of 6 things is fine, but there needs to be a little more detail.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, we have dabbled lightly in the past. One time we went ghost hunting in a cemetery close by, and one of our friends dabbled a little too hard and brought something home. Do you want to tell that story?
Yeah, so we were out with a friend. Well, it was a
whole
group
bunch
of us. But he specifically he called us and said he was having issues ever since the trip to the cemetery. His closet light would flicker on and off, like, in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
He would be, lying in bed, and all of a sudden it would turn on, and then turn off again, and then turn back on. His radio would also do the same thing at the same time as the closet.
And his alarm clock, I believe, too.
Yeah,
would just,
the alarm clock
would go off.
Yep.
And then his TV would just turn on and be that white noise.
Because he had a TV in his room. And then he, a couple days later, made a bath for himself, went to take his pet pig out, and forgot the tub was running, came back to find that it was turned off for him, and the water was perfectly level with the top of the tub.
And it shouldn't have been, because number one, it should have overflowed.
Yeah,
number
there's that spout or that drain.
Yeah, there's a drain that's
the overflow drain. Yeah,
and it wasn't working. Like it works, but the water just was there.
Yeah.
So yeah, he called me and talk to my mom about how do I get rid of an unwanted visitor. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So first things first, I put a message out on Facebook and I asked our listeners, what are some things you do? And I might use them on the episode tonight. And so for our first commenter was Billy, of course, and he goes, forever sage. Yeah,
Yes.
sage is like the number one thing.
Sage is surprisingly effective.
Yep. Maria, our friend, said, I cross my fingers and pray. LOL, I might also have some sage too. My friend, our paranormal expert, Carrie, said, I have my chicken's foot in a jar and sage. And then our sister-in-law, well, your sister, my sister-in-law, said, mix them with ginger ale and cranberry juice.
Gotta get those spirits.
Gotta get those spirits. Anthony from Fools and Rejects, just like Billy, he said, I tell him a dark story, which is a reference to Games Overboard. And then our friend Alicia said, I use sage and warding prayers.
Warring prayers.
Yeah, and so there are a few books on spiritual warfare that you can use if you think you have a negative spirit around you or if you want to prevent them from coming or from attaching to you.
And we'll post that prayer. She texted it to me. I have it here.
So we'll post that for tomorrow's daily update. So those are some comments from you guys. I really appreciate it. Sage obviously is going to pop up. And I don't discuss warring prayer specifically, but what Alicia's getting at is a common thing that we can do.
Yeah.
So first things first, from bustle.com and from mediums, is to trust your gut.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just an important comment to have. If you walk in somewhere and it feels uncomfortable, it feels wrong, listen to your gut. It's really important to trust because your body knows more than you do sometimes.
Yeah. Do we want to preface with what's going on for people who didn't hear last week's episode or Sunday's episode?
If you want to, go ahead.
So, because we are going to Pennhurst for a lock-in at one of the most violent of the buildings. Not so much the most active building, but the most violent of the buildings. So we were, in our chat between Shanna, Carrie, our paranormal expert, and myself, the big thing that we all stressed was if anyone's uncomfortable with something, we speak up. No one is going to be forced to do something they're not comfortable with.
Yeah, because Carrie and I will probably take it to a new level. But you got to dial us back.
Which is hilarious. No, actually, I'm ready to. I want to do the Estes.
Yeah, that's what I want to do too. The Estes method.
But it's funny because when we started this, you were the one who was like, I will not do any of this.
I know.
We will never touch a spirit board in this house.
Oh, no, we will not touch a Ouija board.
It's no different than the Estes method. Literally, it's no different.
Hold on. I go into some detail on certain things.
Okay.
So anyway.
Okay.
So my first thing is to trust your gut. When most people move into a new apartment, whether or not it's haunted likely isn't on their list of questions to ask the landlord. But maybe it should be.
Yeah.
If sharing your space
way to do your research, people.
If sharing your space with spirits isn't really your jam, the website Rent Prep recommends trusting your gut. If something feels off energetically, so in terms of energy in the house, don't rent the apartment. Not
hyperactively.
Yeah, no. If there's a ghost running back and forth with ADHD, I'm out. I need to sleep. In addition, in some states, landlords may be required to disclose information about the property, including whether or not paranormal activity has been reported, which we've discussed
New York.
in the past, and murders and whatnot.
Yeah.
Now, on MBG Mindfulness, Sarah Reagan states, chances are at one point or another you've had a gut feeling. Maybe someone instantly gave you a bad vibe, or you had a sudden and unexplainable urge to skip an event. But what are gut feelings, or, quote, gut instincts, really? And should we always trust them? So our gut instincts are instincts similar to our intuition, though often a gut feeling will involve some sort of physical feeling as well, which isn't always the case with intuition. Intuition, just an idea that pops in your head. With a gut feeling, you're going to have a visceral response, is what they're saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, from a physiological perspective, of course, I'm going to go to science. Neuroscientist and author of The Source, Tara Swart, MD and PhD, says, quote, your gut feelings are a combination of your gut bacteria communicating directly to your brain via chemical messengers in the blood and the gut neurons' connection to the limbic, i.e. the emotional and intuitive part of the brain.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. So on a chemical level, your body is reacting viscerally to something that's unknown to maybe your eyes or to your obvious cognizant self.
Yeah.
But there's that connection, that intuition there.
Yeah.
So what's fun, and I mentioned this, I think, in one of our really, really old episodes, this is actually a growing section of science right now, is
Yeah.
gut intuition, because realizing that gut health is like it's probably the most vital, important thing to have in terms of your mental health, your physical health, you name it. Gut is like the current biggest thing.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about it before, and I guarantee you all have seen commercials for some kind of gut health remedy or like probiotic or this, that, and the other thing, on TV or YouTube or whatever, wherever you see ads. I'm sure you've seen something about gut health recently.
Yeah. But from a more spiritual point of view, clairvoyant, intuitive, and author of A Little Bit of Intuition, Catherine Allen states, people usually get an overall sensation of knowing, but how that knowing presents itself will be different for everyone, which brings us to our next point. In the situation of a haunted location, you're in danger. From an evolutionary perspective, these sorts of extrasensory perceptions may actually have an advantage. So our ability to pick up on a potentially threatening or dangerous situation is certainly a helpful skill, and it's not uncommon to get that sinking feeling when you're afraid. So trust your gut.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on to supernatural discernment to look for physical symptoms of this, because they use the word discernment. I'm going to use a gut feeling. I like that term more.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to have intuition, that quick knowing, you're going to at least have a physical sensation that lets you know, you're in danger, girl, you best run, right?
Yeah.
So
that feeling that you're being watched, and you turn around and there's like someone looking at you.
Yeah. There are no rules that say this is something that equals to this kind of spirit. Like some people will go, oh, well, I have this happening.
Yeah.
They're very in tune with their body. Congratulations to them. Okay. But if you are just starting out, don't assume that a prickle here or prickle there means that you have a demon. All right.
Also, if you're feeling these things and they're very strong, first, like, do a mental health check for yourself before you jump into supernatural. Like, seriously, because that's definitely a big issue, and a lot of these symptoms could come
if
from...
you would read my script, you would know that's coming up. You just know how to call it. You really do. You see where it's going.
Well...
All right. So, specific feelings that people have had are things like a sudden sharp headache. It might feel like there's an ice pick being like dug into your head.
That's like all the time for me.
Well, that's because we have children.
Yeah.
Ringing in your ears. It could also mean something shifting in the spirit realm, and that's not good. If you have very sudden nausea or painful pressure on your chest, if you have butterflies or knots in your stomach, if you have a severe tension on your back or a tingling up your spine like something's tickling you, if your eyes start twitching or burning, that is not a good sign that something's happening. Well, hold on. If your ears feel irritated or plugged up and you all of a sudden can't hear, that's a good sign something's happening. If you feel like you're being squeezed and you can't breathe, if you have pain in your lungs when you're breathing, or if you have like a heaviness on your shoulders or a very sudden drowsiness, those could be experiences or symptoms of discernment or a gut feeling. However, while I'm telling you to pay attention to these signs and know that something could be going off, please take action and pay attention to the symptom as well. If you over-spiritualize them and go to the supernatural first, you might be ignoring something like, that's just a headache.
Yeah.
Right? Or you're having a heart attack. So you need to do a physical check first, and to ask, like, does anyone else feel funky? No? Okay, then it's just me. Lay down, drink some water, and then, of course, do a mental health check as well, as you already mentioned.
Yeah, my uncle was schizophrenic, and a lot of those sensations he had just because of a chemical imbalance in his brain. So you just don't always jump to the supernatural.
Yep.
Because you never know.
If you're not sure, go to your doctor, get a quick physical, and if the checkup is normal, all right, let's go on to the next thing, right?
Yes.
All right, number 2, and I am a firm believer in this, clear your energy. All right, it's important to learn to manage your energy. The best way to do this is to use sage, all right, which is why I put that in our last giveaway. Now, many people mention sage sticks, which we saw over and over again, and yes, they do work well, especially with smudging, but they stank. Okay.
Oh, man. That was a smell.
People, we are in the 21st century. You can either light a sage stick or you can diffuse pure sage oil from your diffuser. All right, listen. Like, when push comes to shove, there's also incense, which I bought incense for the plague doctor.
Yeah.
So there's lots of things that you can do that are sage that will work. So you set your intention. Maybe you want to cleanse like your the room or just your negative energy. So you kind of say it out loud, and then you burn the sage, and then you cleanse that room of your energy, your upset, or of the spirit. Now, of course, as Billy said, forever sage, and it's true. Now, according to the Wellness Guides on Savannah, the art of smudging is an ancient spiritual ritual for purification, dispelling negative energy, and improving mood, and can easily be incorporated into your weekly routine or meditative practice. Some types of purification agents are sage. The Latin word for sage is salvia, and it stems from the word heal, which is pretty cool, yeah. Other qualities believed to be associated with sage when burned are wisdom, clarity, and increased spiritual awareness. The second one they suggest is Palo Santo, and that's Spanish for holy wood. Palo Santo is a sacred tree that grows in select parts of South America, and it's, fun fact, a natural insect repellent. So I want it anyway. But it's been used for centuries by shamans in ritual prayer, ceremonies, and healing, and it's known for its grounding and focusing effect, which can enhance creativity and productivity and increase good fortune. So if you were to do like a combination of like a sage and Palo Santo, you actually might have a better working environment too. Which is kind of cool. Now, a very simple smudging ritual is you start off with a simple intention, like I want to get rid of the negative energy out of my space. You just verbalize it. Once you have your intention in mind, or you've said it, you light your sage or your Palo Santo, you light up your diffuser, whatever. If you're using a smudge stick, though, you're going to hold it at a 45-degree angle, and you're going to point the tip down towards the flame to get it to lit up. And then you want to allow it to burn for 30 seconds, and then you're going to blow it out. So it will actually, smolder. And then you can just simply place it on any heat-proof burning surface. You don't have to like carry it around the house and shake it around. You can just put it on a holder.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Isn't that nice?
I thought you were getting at you don't have to walk it around. I'm like, I don't believe that
well, no,
part.
you should. Yeah, no. If it's just one room, you could probably just have it burning in the middle of the room.
Yeah, if it's just one room, yeah.
But you don't have to have ashes all over your house.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If left to rest, the stick will smolder and will release smoke for approximately 5 minutes. So if used for smudging, walk around the entire room, space, object, or person, and you're going to fan the smoke over its entirety whilst focusing on cleansing and clearing of negative energy. Now, once you finish your smudging ritual, you are then going to remind yourself that there's no negative energy. It's all gone. So you're going to push the positive in the space to maintain that positive balance. So you're going to think of positivity, good things are coming my way, and you're going to declare that intention out loud. I feel like that's better for people because putting in your head, we have a lot of intrusive thoughts. So saying out loud is always better for people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But I believe in even if you don't smudge, I believe in the power of positivity. I think when we put out into the world, that's what we get back. So if you're negative, negativity kind of comes back to you. So I've always thought that. Now, number 3 is cleansing crystals. There are a whole bunch of crystals that you can have in your house to protect you and whatnot. Selenite is the recommended one that I found the most online. So crystals are a great way to clear negative energy and keep it from coming back. And selenite is perhaps the best cleansing crystal out there. Now, I have a quote here from the Energy Muse co-founder and healing crystals expert, Heather Askinozy. She said, selenite is my go-to stone for protection from ghosts and lower vibrational energy, and I personally consider it to be a crystal ghostbuster. She also said, wearing a selenite necklace creates a sphere of white light around your body. It's uplifting, elevating, and acts like a superhero of protection. Other crystals are black obsidian, palm stones that you can carry with you. Clear quartz crystals, and you can wear them as pendants, jewelry, that kind of thing. Again, keep them in your workspace. It deflects negative energies. A green prehnite ring is also good for people because it's supposed to connect you to the universe, but also release hexes and curses, which is good for people if you have hex hollow going on, I guess. And then one of the best crystals, though, for a protection from spirits is pyrite. And in the Wiccan culture, it's actually known as protection stone. Which is kind of cool. So you can wear it as a bracelet. You keep them in your living room. That's supposed to help diminish the energy of bad spirits, and it stops them from entering your home. So those are the biggies. If you are a crystal person, you know a friend who sells crystals, hop on that. If you go down to Craven and Castor, they sell crystals.
They'll hook you up.
Now, the next one is kind of what Alicia was getting at. She has warring prayers, right? She has things you can say. But I also just believe in the idea of forceful speak. It does not work for everybody. But our one friend, Jackie, had some spirits in her house, and she was told to use forceful speak to get rid of it, and it worked. So,
I did it in here a couple times.
Yeah. If you tell the offending spirit to leave, many times that will work. Because you're setting your intention saying, I own this place, this is mine. So you're supposed to assert your power. You insist that the spirit leaves. And if you're strong, it could work. Now,
Mhm.
it doesn't always,
Yeah.
know, for us, if you have a demonic spirit, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
But it does work for smaller annoyances and entities, and the continual use of prayer can really be offensive to some types of spirits, and they'll leak like, oh, no, I'm out.
Mhm.
Like, no, thank you. Now, the next one is visualization exercises. And this kind of goes with the idea of creating a good intention, creating a clean space. It connects to that.
Mhm.
So, one visualization technique that you could do is to kind of imagine. Now, this is coming from Kaza. She wrote this on her site. She said, visualize firstly the most radiant golden white light filling your entire physical being from head to toe and allow it to radiate outwards from your body like an aura. Because you're covering yourself in white light. The idea is that
the white
God's,
light's a very common one.
in you, out you, around you. Once you've done that, and you can imagine like there's no blackness in you at all, then you're supposed to visualize yourself kind of like in a bubble, if you will.
Mhm.
And some people can imagine that as like an electric bubble of silver light, of blue light, of more white light, of gold light. But regardless, you can just, if you want to say something out loud, because again, some people need to visualize it, but also say it.
Yep.
You can say, I surround myself with a shield of protection. I am safe within my space. You could also say like, no negative spirit can come in here. You know, like this is my spot, my bubble, stay in my bubble, right? So you can do that. But I do believe in the idea of visualizing everything because, again, if you're creating positive energy, you're already in my mind, like you're envisioning whiteness anyway, but that's because I'm religious. So I think of whiteness as being purity.
It's kind of hard, at least for me being religious also, like it's hard to not separate this stuff from religion because like in my brain, if demons exist, then everything else has to exist, right? Like why else?
And the Holy Spirit is always seen as white and a dove, right?
Yeah.
So I imagine white light and that's holy.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard for me to not imagine that.
And if you're not religious, you can remove the word Holy Spirit and it's
like legit no like it's not like we're judging anyone or anything like that. It's just me personally, that's how I feel.
Yeah. So I had to make that comparison for myself.
Yeah.
Now, they also have the idea of grounding, which is helpful for visualization, but it's more of a physical part of that. So Joni Mahon, she's a well-known author and paranormal investigator. She has a whole thing on her website about this. So she explains it as grounding. Learning how to ground yourself is one of the easiest metaphysical practices to master. It might take you a little time to figure out what works for you, but once you get the hang of it, the results are worth the effort. So she mentions imagine the white light above you, and then of course you're pulling it into yourself. You imagine pushing all the negativity out through your feet, and so you become all white. She says other people, like they just walk barefoot outdoors because that helps them literally ground.
Yeah, that's how I did it. I did a summer school thing, and I did like grounding exercises with the kids and everything, and so
and there's I think there are studies that show that if you have direct contact with the earth, it seems to be really helpful in removing toxins from your body because you're connected to the earth in that way. So some people actually go and hug trees to ground. I'm not going to hug a tree, but I love walking barefoot. Now, she does say grounding stones such as hematite, black tourmaline, tiger eye, onyx, jasper, and green aventurine are good. And they can help assist you in grounding yourself. So you can kind of hold the stone in your hand. You can, imagine it kind of taking your excess.
You have hematite.
Yep. Hematite's also really good to be used when you're trying to like astral project and stuff too. Yeah. I don't do that, but it's nice to have it because I find that if I put it against my head, it kind of gets rid of my migraines sometimes. I'll just hold it in my hand and like put it on my head. Maybe it could be me visualizing the pain going in there.
Could be placebo effect too, but hey, it works. So
yeah, because the idea of grounding too is like you imagine that pain or that negativity going into the rock, and the rock carries your emotion. So, but anyway. What you can also do, it's my favorite thing to do, is find a YouTube video that works for you. There are lots of guided meditations and instructions on how to do that. I put on meditation and I fall asleep. I think it's a compliment to the person running the meditation. But grounding can be very helpful. Again, it goes along with kind of clearing out your negative energy.
Yeah. The Calm app.
Yeah, the Calm app is wonderful, yes. But learning the technique of grounding and visualization is great because it makes a positive impact on your overall well-being, I think. There are also some things like just breathing, learning how to like imagine a ball of energy forming in your solar plexus, like which is the upper part of your diaphragm, like right here in your abdomen. And if you can like imagine like that being there, you can kind of fill it with white light and spread it out through your body. They use that to calm people down who have anxiety too, like imagining something that you can squish or change. So again, it's just for your mind, but that's there's like 4 square breathing and stuff too. So If you're
Yeah.
interested, you can find those online. But the last thing I have is don't use Ouija boards. Okay? Maybe you think it's a toy. Maybe it's not. But if you are at all sensitive to the energies around you, it's best to avoid using a Ouija board. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's just what they're called talking boards. So you use
Yeah.
it to communicate directly with the spirit world. And so you ask questions. If there are spirits present, then you talk to those spirits. And they're supposed to move the board's planchette around. Some people believe that Ouija boards don't work. Others say there's enough evidence to kind of say yes, they do.
Yeah, because they're like, it's interesting. If you there was a study I read where they had some blind people use a talking board.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was before Ouija was a thing. It
Yeah.
was a talking board, and it didn't work at all.
Interesting. So there is a difference between a Ouija board and dowsing rods, and I made sure I do a lot of research before I brought that on the show. But a Ouija board, you are setting the intention that you are talking to the spirits and you're inviting spirits to come in and you're going to directly communicate with them. A dowsing rod was just used to find water. And so it connects to the spiritual energy or the water energy around you.
But when you start asking,
When you're asking,
rods,
and I looked into this, when you're asking questions, you're not talking specifically to a spirit. You're asking the energies in the room. Where is something? And so the idea is that a spirit's not telling you that the stop sign's over there. Your brain knows it's over there. Remember how we had that conversation about Laura?
Like, yeah.
So your brain, because we all have we're supposed to have the ability to like use our brains, like telekinesis almost, and that kind of stuff. We can use our energies to actually move that.
Yeah.
We don't realize we're doing it. But that's the idea of a dowsing rod, is it picks up on the energies around you.
But what I'm saying is like things like the Estes method and even dowsing rods, you can
can.
saying, are you here? Did you die here?
Yeah.
Things like that.
And the comment is, if it's yes and no questions, it's a passive conversation. It's not a direct communication.
See, I don't believe that.
Okay.
I do not believe that at all.
Okay.
100% it's still communication. Like,
Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll get lots of emails and conversations. Jackie's going to yell.
I would love to hear what people say about that.
Well, and it's what's interesting. If you go online, it's you and me. It's people.
Yeah.
It's 50-50. It's like it isn't. But it's true. Think about it. Like you mentioned your grandma's story. Like she used it to find water. Like it really does work.
Mm-hmm.
But there is also evidence to say that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, and so there was a whole study of how people like use the dowsing rod to find the water, and like half of them could not find the water.
Yeah.
So.
And that again could just be someone who's in tune with
Exactly.
Because we know people who like they hold dowsing rods and nothing happens because they just don't have that connection to the rods. So it could just be the fact that they just don't have that connection with them.
Mm-hmm. And if it's just energy in a room, maybe they just shut themselves down. Then like your parents don't feel anything.
Yeah, like if they're almost like empaths, you know, like if you aren't able to pick up on other vibrations, feelings, energies, like you said, then obviously they're not going to work for you.
Yeah. But that's all that I have. So those are the 6 major things, So to go back, everybody, I mean, everyone online says it too, use sage. But first thing is trust your gut. If it doesn't seem safe, it's just like we want to protect ourselves. Your body is telling you not safe here, go. Leave. Yeah. Then go to the doctor, see if it's something. If you are having pain in your chest, go to your doctor.
Yeah. So my interesting one I found.
Okay, well, number 2, make sure to clear your energy. And then from that includes using sage. Get some cleansing crystals if you feel like you need to have some kind of like a talisman. Use forceful speak. It doesn't always work if there's a spirit in your house, but sometimes it will. Using visualization and grounding techniques really helpful. And of course, don't invite it in by trying to talk to it directly.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me your Chat GPT.
Yes. Well, and one legit one.
Okay.
And Chat GPT actually had some pretty good legit ones in here, I have to say. It starts with religious. Well, first it starts with like, make sure that, wiring's okay and, like all the logistical things. And then I said like, okay, give me more. and it's like, so number 1, clergy and religious leaders. And it starts with priests and pastors. And then the interesting one I saw was feng shui experts.
Okay. Yeah, so call on your aunt.
Yeah. So, again, balancing the energies and all that. But there is something called Chung Kui, the protector against evil spirits. Huh. And it is a statue.
Is this real or is this Japanese? Okay.
No, it's legit.
Okay.
It's right here. So, it's a statue. And you put it near your doorways, like, and facing outwards.
Okay.
And he is to ward off, almost like a dream catcher. Like,
Yeah.
he wards off evil spirits and also prevents, like, thefts and robberies and things like that, too.
And, you know, whether those things work or not, I think, again, it's that energy aspect, or that's priming yourself in a positive way. It gives
you a state of mind.
Yeah, we gave Eli a dream catcher when he was having all those issues. And when he had his dream catcher hang up above his bed, he did not have nightmares.
Mm-hmm, yeah. It's definitely a state of mind thing.
Mm-hmm. I think you're setting yourself up for that positivity or that negativity.
Yeah. It's spelled Chung,
Chung.
and then Kwei, Kwei.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have to look for that and maybe put a link on our Games Overboard page, people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Chungkwei. I like that. All right. Well, that's all I have for you listeners and for you, PukwuPJ. Thank you for listening to Wellhouse Exorcism. You can find us on Instagram as Wellhouse Exorcism. You can find us on Twitter/X, which is Wellhouse_Exorc. Or you can find us on Facebook under Games Overboard because we are a subsidiary. Feel free to hop on our website as well, gamesoverboard.com. Please email us. Please comment. We want to hear from you, especially after this. I would love to hear your comments. If I have to do a part 2 with more ideas, I'd love it. If you are a medium,
that'd be so cool, yeah.
And you actually have good experiences and you know how to use things, we'd love to Zoom with you and put you on here for a mini episode or for a full-length episode.
Mm-hmm.
But for the next couple weeks, we're doing Alcatraz. So strap yourselves in, people. It's going to be something.
I'm ready.
I'm excited. But as always,
Think spooky thoughts.